We have had such a unfortunate 24 hours.
I think yours has been worse than mine.
I
All I did was burn my finger really badly.
But you burned it like really bad.
It's interesting. So I was taking food out of the oven and I touched the 400-degree wire metal rack in the oven with my bare thumb because the pot holder I was using just kind of flippity dipped.
I didn't catch that part. Yeah. I had thought that I had maybe distracted you when I came in with my bad news.
No, I just was going too quickly.
Okay.
And anyway, it happened. Yeah. And I treated it immediately. I literally was like, Alexa, what do you do when you burn your hand? And so, cold water, put aloe on it, like all the stuff. And so what's interesting about it today is it didn't end up like coming up in a blister, which is a good thing.
I mean,
But the stripe where the metal touched my finger is completely dead to all sensation. Like, it's totally numb.
You don't have fingerprints there anymore. Very MIB.
When you look at it, it's very shiny and smooth. Yes, as if I have like Men in Black burned off that portion of my thumb. So that's exciting. I feel like now is the best time for me to go do some dark romance crimes.
Go stalk
This is
someone.
my villain origin story. Is how it starts.
The zucchini allowed me to do crimes.
That's correct. Yeah. But I feel terrible. Your 24 hours has been more stressful than mine. You ended up spending the night last night.
Yeah, unexpectedly.
Because you pulled in and popped a tire in our front yard, basically.
I mean, of all the places that I have popped a tire, literally pulling into your house is probably the best place I could have done it.
True.
Because it was then just parked in front of your house.
Right. Better than on the freeway or on a road at all.
But I then spent this morning changing the tire as all of your neighbors walked past and was like, what's going on here?
None of them volunteered to help you?
No, and I would have been okay otherwise anyway. Like, I personally, every time that I've popped a tire or something when it's not an emergency, I've taken the time to do it myself because I'm like, it's worth practicing if it's not on the side of the road.
That's a good life skill that I also don't have, so I admire you.
Thank you. I've now changed 5 tires.
Whoa, hold on. We need to talk about why you have such a bad track record with tires.
Yeah, luckily not all of them have been because they were flat. Some of them was because we needed to get to something behind the wheel well. But this was the 3rd flat tire that I've had. And thank you. And it costs so much every time.
So anyway, the moral of this story is please like, comment, and subscribe.
I need to pay for tires.
We need to get Emmy some new freaking tires. Yes. She's driving on a spare right now. Do us a solid.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe we should insult birds some more. We did that a lot in our early episodes.
Yeah, that worked out.
The bird lobby was pretty mad at me for a few minutes.
People telling you that you did birds wrong.
Yeah, we'll contemplate who we can successfully insult so that we can get some more engagement.
In fact, let that be your comment. Who should we successfully insult on this podcast to get engagement?
Start a beef with in order to increase our engagement. Anyway.
Should we talk about a book?
I would love to talk about a book, Emmy. I'm Megan.
And I'm Emmy.
And this is a Smut in Public.
Smut in Public.
Smut in Public. Smut in Public.
Where we bring you only the most hockiest,
the iciest and diciest of polyam romances.
Oh, yes. We're doing a heavy, heavy why choose this week.
Woo! We certainly are.
Yeah. And by heavy, we mostly mean by page count.
Yeah, by page count and also weight. If you put every member of this romance onto a scale.
Team, if you put them all together,
These guys are enormous.
They are huge. They are hulking.
Hulking giant men.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm good with that. So the book that we're doing today, which we haven't told you yet, it's a surprise, is Pucking Around. And that is the Jacksonville Rays book 1 by Emily Rath. This book came out in 2023 and it is a staggering 640 pages.
So long.
Hefty. Could weigh down the corner of a tent with this novel.
If you take this one camping, you could use it in your emergency equipment.
Use it to beat the tent spike into the ground. And that is only pucking around, but really to fully appreciate this book, you also have to read That One Night, which is a prequel novella, which adds another 120-ish pages.
Gosh, I didn't even know that's how many. That's just a regular book by itself.
120 pages is not a regular book.
I guess it's some of the books I've seen, but yes.
I understand.
Yeah,
but,
you're right.
But yeah, so like kind of all in, it's an 800-page book.
we actually had to take extra time for this one.
We did.
Yeah.
It took us more than the regular 1 week
This
to
one
read
took
it.
us over the 2 weeks, I think, to read it. Yeah.
Correct. And even though Quicksilver is that long, I don't feel like it took me as long to read.
No,
I think this book took me longer.
This book also took me longer.
Mm-hmm. Probably because there's less plot than in Quicksilver, which
we're gonna get to that.
Let's get into that soon. So this is an unfinished book series. There are 4 main books, but there are also 4 novellas. This author loves a companion novella.
She likes to do both. Big book, little book.
And she kind of alternates like that. So it's like little book, little book, so on. I haven't read any of the others. I would like to.
Yeah, me too.
Not all of them have this many main characters, so I'm hoping the other ones might be a little bit lighter because they're just less packed.
Yeah,
jam-packed,
I haven't
shorter.
seen the other ones in store physically to compare them. So
yeah. Quick non-spoiler plot summary before we, jump into the meaty stuff. Rachel is a sports medicine doctor who enjoyed a one-night stand with a stranger in Seattle while she was attending her brother's wedding. A few months later, she lands her dream fellowship as the team doctor for a newly forming NHL, which is hockey. I had to check. Sorry, I don't do sports. An NHL team called the Jacksonville Rays. She's barely put her purse down yet when her missed connection turns out to be starting defenseman Jake Compton. And the stakes of their workplace flirtation get higher when Rachel catches the eye of Jake's best friend Caleb, who is the team's equipment manager, and a surly goalie, Ilmari Kinnunen. Mm-hmm. The vibe of this book, it is very funny.
It was.
Surprisingly wholesome. Mm-hmm. It is, of course, a sports romance, but thankfully hockey knowledge is not required to enjoy this novel. Thank God. I actually learned a couple terms.
Me too. I was looking stuff up while I was reading this to enjoy it more, and I do now appreciate hockey a little bit more since before I read this.
Me too. And the whole book is Rachel trying to act professional while fucking 3 of her coworkers and trying not to let people find out that that's happening.
It's true.
Yeah.
This entire book, I pitched this to you as an HR person's worst nightmare.
But it might be a smut reader's dream.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But yes, as an HR lady, worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah. I was multiple times, I was just like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Small digression. I feel like hockey is the only sports romance genre. There aren't really baseball books or football books or soccer books. I Googled how the players look in these different sports, and I understand why.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I literally had a whole conversation with Paul about why I think that it's hockey.
Tell me your theory.
Okay, here's my theory as to why it's hockey rather than the other sports. How many hockey players did you know in high school?
None.
Yeah. So you don't have any bad... Oh, the guy from the football team made fun of me.
Bad association.
No bad associations. The soccer guy, the baseball guy, maybe a little bit, but the football guy,
I like your theory. May I propose an alternate theory?
Sure, alternate theory.
The exercise that you have to do as a hockey player is like a total body workout. Mm-hmm. And I'm not judging people's attractiveness, okay? I don't give a shit what you look like. You're a peak athlete. You can look all different kinds of ways.
That's true.
But when we're talking about the himbo physical vibe of what you want to picture when you're reading one of these incredibly gorgeous romance novel men, that's what every hockey player looks like from the neck down, to be clear. From the neck up, they get in a lot of fights. There's a lot of...
That was my next question. I was like, but wait, hockey players are the ones that are constantly getting punched in the face.
Broken teeth.
Yeah.
Fucked up nose. All of that fair. That's where the fantasy comes in.
Yeah. Reality, fantasy.
Yes. But the canonical, like, tree trunk legs and, like, buff dude that I really want to read about, that is what pretty much every hockey player looks like. I think... because of the physical exertion that you have to do in that sport.
I see.
Whereas there are lots of sort of less traditionally, this body type bodies in football. There are other positions that don't always have this body type. In baseball, tons of positions that don't necessarily have this body type. But yeah, in hockey, everybody looks hot.
See,
hockey and firefighters, hot across the board.
Oh, okay, firefighter. Yeah. See,
hot
now,
across the board.
To me, the only thing I pit you against this is that who else looks like this?
Who?
Male gymnasts.
You're wrong.
What?
I'm gonna fight you.
Really?
I think male gymnasts have an amount of litheness to their physique.
That they're not just large.
They're
That's
not
true.
just
In fact, you
large.
don't want them to be large.
No, they have
can't
to
get around the bars and shit.
They have to do flippies and dippies and
right.
flying through the air. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're ripped.
Yeah.
But they're like lean ripped.
Yeah.
Whereas I think these guys are beefy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Shout out to a horse guy from the Olympics the other year.
Horse guy. Yeah.
Pommel horse guy.
Pommel horse guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to clarify because in our line of work, horse guy.
Oh, that's true. Horse guy
is
something else.
Yeah.
If you want to hear more banter like that, we're considering doing some smaller short form, not specifically like book specific videos, where we just talk about sort of bookish topics like this. Why do we think that these tropes are what are in books? What do we think about them? Are these good ones? Are they bad ones? What's interesting about them? So keep an eye out for that. Like on YouTube, we're working on it.
Yeah, we're experimenting.
We're experimenting with the format.
We are, and we are hopeful and excited that all of our 8 dedicated listeners will come along with us on the journey.
Thank you, our 8 dedicated listeners.
If you're listening to this, we genuinely love you.
You're the real ones.
And if you love dark romance and you want me to, I will break into your house for you.
She will.
This is going so well. We'll edit all of that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell us the tags for this book?
Sure. So the tags for this book are, it is an alternating POV between 4 characters in this polyamorous relationship. It is a reverse harem. It is a workplace romance, so much. And there's a little bit of a second chance romance thrown in. Jake and Rachel have an insta-love, and the others are like friends to lovers / co-workers to lovers. The spice rating for this book. Let's look at the scoreboard.
It
is a giant 6 hockey sticks.
Ooh, 6 big, long hockey sticks for pugging around.
Oh, woo. My gosh. Woo. This book was nonstop spice on the same level of Kiss of the Basilisk, which also got our 6 Chili Award.
Yes, that was our episode 9 review.
Yes. There isn't really a plot. In this book, each member of the foursome does get a character arc with a little bit of like a personal fulfillment, including this is the big game moments.
Love that. Any sports film or book, you have to have a big game.
You do have to have a big game. And because there's so many characters in their book, there has to be more than one big game.
I love that.
But what we're all here for is to watch 3 boys relentlessly take it to the box. And that's one of the many hockey jokes that's going to be in this fucking episode. Or at least that was in the book. There were so many hockey references.
Really were. Full disclosure, just behind the scenes of how we make our episodes, I do a lot of the writing and Emmy does almost all of the editing. That's how we split it up. That's just how we ended up splitting it up and what we each have the time to do and the skill set to do, because you're an incredible editor.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. I literally had to Google, is taking it to the box a hockey joke? Because I wrote it and then I doubted myself. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's hockey. Like, it is. Okay, it is. It's a hockey thing. Yeah. Good.
I feel like a real live TV comedian where someone else is writing my jokes and then I have to perform it and go, I think that's what that is. Very Colbert moment.
Yeah. You're doing like the Colbert monologue every time we record.
And whenever he talks about Labubu's, you can just see the slight confusion on his face.
Whereas I'm like, the writer on the movie set that's like, stick to the page. Yeah. The words are good. Just read the words.
I put the words down for a reason.
Yeah. No, we're sorry to burst your bubble, but we don't improv the entire episode.
No.
This part
is definitely
improv.
Anyway, Megan,
yes.
Tell us about the rainbow rating of this book.
Emmy, I would love to tell you about that. So this is our first 5.
Hooray!
Woo! We did it.
Finally, so a gay-ass book.
Gay book. So I gave it a 5 for a few reasons. 1, I did not expect good queer representation from a sports romance.
No, me neither. I assume this is going to be another one of those ones where the guys literally just ignored each other. Yeah,
exactly. I thought it was going to be what we call a chevron, right? Where there's a lady in the middle and there are, fellas involved, but none of them touch.
They never look each other in the eye.
They only touch her.
Yeah.
Not the case. Nope. And that subverted my expectations. It was a wonderful surprise.
Yeah.
There are 2 queer main characters, 50% of our polyquad, an impressive ratio.
Yes.
That would be Jake and Caleb. And they get a really lovely friends to lovers arc. And they even get time alone, not just time with Rachel, which I very much appreciated. And, they develop their own intimate and loving connection. So really happy with that. And then finally, just as an aside, Rachel's twin brother, also gay.
Yes.
And in a gay marriage, which is the marriage she's attending at the beginning of that one night.
Yeah.
And that was extra. You didn't have to throw it in.
Nope. Stuck it in there for more representation.
Appreciated it.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it a 5.
Yep. This one is our first well-earned 5-flag review.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Emily Rath.
All right. So we are now going to take a spoiler break. And when we come back, we're going to tell you all about pucking around.
All the juicy details.
All of the different configurations.
Stick around. One of the great privileges we've had since launching Smut in Public has been meeting authors and fellow creators who share our love of spicy romance.
We find new book besties every day, and supporting their work helps us all build a community together.
Our new book bestie, Ari, runs the Spicy Romance Book Club. It's an online apparel brand with cozy fits, perfect to wear as you curl up with the next book on your TBR list.
The Spicy Romance Book Club is a small, female, POC-led business, and Smut in Public listeners can enjoy 15% off their entire store order with promo code SMUTINPUBLIC.
Find your next book bestie by wearing your love of spicy romance literally on your sleeve. Right, good girl?
Megan, you're making me blush. Save it for the episode.
Okay, fine. Visit thespicyromancebookclub.com and use promo code SMUTINPUBLIC for 15% off your entire order. See you at the bookstore. So we're going to talk about that one night for a moment because it's really important, I think, to get the backstory of Jake and Rachel so that their second chance encounter when you get to Pucking Around hits a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not sure why you would ever read Pucking Around without the novella.
Yeah.
You miss a lot of foundational context.
So I came up with a theory as to why this was printed as a novella before the book came out.
Why?
Because I think that a 4-person wide shoes is a hard thing to sell, mm-hmm. but the beginning, the first 11 chapters basically of the book are very good. Yeah. And I think that it was sort of like, read this, and if you like it, you're going to like the rest of it.
Okay. You think that they were trying to hook people so they wouldn't be necessarily turned off by the back of Pucking Around and going forward.
4 is so many. Yeah.
4 is a lot of people.
I think this was a marketing thing.
I love
and
it.
I think it worked, to be honest with you.
I love it. I wish I could talk to Emily Rath and ask, hey, did you plan it this way, or did your editor go, you know what? I think we really need, I think we need a warm up. There's not enough context.
Yeah. Because when you told me that the first part wasn't actually part of the book, because I was confused. I read this on audiobook, and it just read this part first, and I remember being like, wow, this is a really hot and heavy book to begin with. And then it wasn't until afterwards
that you realized it was a prequel novella.
Yeah, it was a prequel novella.
That happened for me too, because the audiobook, I think when you purchase it, it will have a little sticker on the image that says includes that one night.
Yeah.
So anyway, the storyline for that one night. 4 months ago, Rachel is in Seattle for her twin brother's gay wedding. He's marrying a chef, by the way.
Love that.
My absolute
a Thai
dream.
chef, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you're correct. And she's drinking at a hotel bar when she meets Jake. Now, Jake is visiting Seattle because he is also a twin, and he's there to meet up with his twin sister who lives in Japan, and he's normally based in Florida, which of course Rachel doesn't know yet, but Japan and Florida, Seattle is kind of like meeting in the middle for them.
Yeah, it's the middle for them, yeah.
Right. But he has just found out that his sister is not going to make it for their vacation together. Yeah. And he's kind of bummed, hanging out at the bar. And he notices that Rachel is being pestered basically by, a guy that's flirting with her and won't leave her alone and blah, 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 blah. So he pretends to be her brother and helps her, put the guy off.
Yeah. You talking to my sister?
And so as they're, leaving together, they decide that they're going to have an anonymous vacation hookup.
Yes. Hey, look, if you're in town for a wedding, right?
Hey,
it's in the air.
When in Seattle.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right? Well, that decision turns into a really intense night of passion between the two of them. In fact, they have unprotected sex, which it's interesting to me. This is only a contemporary romance thing that they even talk about it.
Yeah, because normally in fantasy romance and sci-fi romance, they find a way to just hand wave this. But when it's contemporary, you're like, wait, but
what about
safe sex?
And for Jake, it's his first time, which is a really big deal. And I'm going to say, imprints on her like a duckling.
Sorry, you didn't say that in front of me.
No, I didn't.
That was super cute. Yes,
it's true though.
Jake absolutely is attached to Rachel forever after this, and forever is like, oh, I love you're mine.
He imprints on her like a duckling.
Yep.
I follow you now. In a,
he's so sweet. It's like a duckling. Yes.
He's so charming.
He is the sweetest boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the absolute sweetest boy. So Rachel, unfortunately for Jake, slips out in the morning before he wakes up.
Yeah.
And so this becomes a missed connection, right? Even though both of them, it turns out, were very deeply touched by the experience and the intimacy, they have no way of contacting each other. And it was just, two ships passing in the night, and Jake ends up telling his best friend Caleb all about it. Of course, Rachel tells her best friend all about it, and Jake ends up calling her Seattle girl, since they did not even tell each other their first names. That is the one night stand that happens before pucking around. On to pucking around.
Yes.
Let's give you a little bit of backstory about our female main character, Rachel Price. So she is a sports medicine doctor, but she used to be kind of a fuck up / is kind of a fuck up.
Don't know if it wears off a little with time, but not as much as she would hope.
Correct. She has a famous father who is the front man for what felt to me like a fictional 80s hair band.
That was definitely like an Aerosmith kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He had like a Steven Tyler energy or a Lenny Kravitz vibe to me. And that band is called The Ferryman.
Yes.
Adorable. So because of her, famous family, she really grew up in the public eye with all of this scrutiny over her actions, and every, single mistake she made as a young person was judged and written about. And that's a wound that she is going to carry with her through a lot of this story, and is going to drive a lot of her decision making with these relationships.
Yeah. She harkens back to it a lot when she talks about why she's doing what she does.
Well, she does in a flashback moment talk about how she ruined like $1 million yacht and threw up on the White House lawn when she was 11 during an Easter egg hunt.
She got drunk at the White House Easter egg hunt. Yeah, and she said for a little while that she tried to be a model.
Yeah, so when we say that she was a hot mess, she was a hot mess.
Yes.
Recently, she has earned the prestigious Barkley Fellowship, which is like a paid internship for doctors in order to get more experience in their chosen specialty. And for her, as a sports medicine doctor, that's hips and knees.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of hip and knee issues in hockey. Right. And again, this is such a dumb joke. Since this is a fantasy, immediately I thought, oh, it's the Fellowship of the Puck.
There was enough characters for
There's
it.
no reason for me to make that joke, but I laughed, and so I wrote it down.
So it's in the script.
I'm so sorry. I inflicted the Fellowship of the Puck joke on you. Okay. I had to make these jokes because, again, I'm a fantasy reader, and I'm like, oh my God, sports. So many sports are happening. All the sports. It's fine. I enjoyed it a lot. So she arrives in Jacksonville, Florida, and Caleb, Jake's best friend, and the team's equipment manager, is her ride.
When Rachel lands in Jacksonville, things are not going well. She's having about as good of a day as we did yesterday.
Correct.
Her plane is late. Her luggage hasn't shown up. And she doesn't even know that they've sent someone to pick her up. So she doesn't even know that there's someone waiting on her. She's been standing around for 45 minutes. She turns on her phone and she sees all these messages basically like, hey, I'm coming to pick you up. Hey, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? So she does not even begin with a good impression on Caleb, who is the person who's been assigned to come pick her up.
Yeah.
So she shows up. She just seems real messy. She comes off really rude because she's honestly been awake for like 48 hours. And her whole journey through the airport was like, it was just
Pure
my
chaos.
personal nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. Lost luggage. Can't find, my phone's not working. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. She comes
a nightmare.
in like a hurricane. Yeah, that's he comes up with that nickname for her
He does.
really quick.
Again, this book is all about nicknames.
Oh yeah, because you have to know which guy's talking to her.
Correct. And so, yeah, Caleb's nickname for Rachel becomes Hurricane.
Hurricane, yeah. So as they are leaving the airport, they are putting her suitcase into the back of Caleb's Jeep, and it breaks open, and all of her stuff goes flying out. And imagine, like, you're coming to, like, you're passing all the people being picked up, and there's somebody's luggage out there. Her panties are out, her clothes are out, and most importantly, her giant octopus dildo has fallen out onto the ground. And as Caleb's helping her pick the stuff up, he goes like, "What's this?" And he's just standing there going like,
"What?
Oh no.
The fuck?" Chef's kiss moment.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest, like absolute perfection. Also, 100% the TSA did a sword fight with that thing.
Oh, yeah. That thing has ended up on a highlights board somewhere in the TSA.
Oh, you know that TSA agents have, like, I'm imagining like a Polaroid board of like.
Of all the, here's the top weird things for this week.
Doctors who take stuff out of people's butts and TSA agents that scan your bags all have a wall of shame of stuff that they have found.
Yes. And this is definitely on it.
Yes, 100%. So Caleb comes off, I would say, sarcastic, maybe a little bit standoffish when he first meets Rachel. But again, she's very chaotic, so who could blame him?
I know, yeah. He's just like, whoa, I don't know what's going on.
There's
here.
a lot. Whatever's happening here is
it's
a lot. Despite their rocky start, they are going to be forced into pretty close proximity here because not only are they coworkers for the same NHL team, it turns out they're also next door neighbors.
Of course they are.
Because the team provides housing,
yeah,
right, for employees. And their sexual tension kicks right off when Rachel pulls a very classic hurricane move and locks herself out on the balcony of her new apartment. She does that, by the way, in her underwear.
Yes, and a ferryman's t-shirt.
And so she analyzes all of her options and decides that trying to get in touch with Caleb is going to be the best way to rescue herself from this situation. But once he finally comes out onto his own balcony, she then chooses the most insane option possible.
Yeah.
He gives her choices like, you could sleep on the balcony, we could call maintenance in the morning, like all these different choices. And she's like, no, I really have to pee. I am going to climb over the railing of my own balcony, and you're going to grab onto me and pull me onto your balcony and then let me into your place, and then I'll get to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I mean, bad decision started out when she walked out onto her own balcony in her underwear.
You know what? I'm not going to judge that. That really is something I would do if you're far enough up in the air that you don't think anyone's going to see you. Whatever. Be in your underwear in your own space. But my God, woman. Just, if you have to pee that badly, pop a squat. You don't have any furniture out here.
No one knows. No one
Pop
knows you're here.
Right. Yeah. The only reason Caleb knows you're out here is you've been texting him.
Yeah.
Insanely.
Yeah, and she was like messaging him and trying to call him and being like, oh my God. And when he does eventually show up, she's like super rude. And she's like, do you never check your phone or something?
She reacts very rudely to him.
Yeah.
And I will say, that was a moment where I was like, am I going to like Rachel?
Yeah.
Because she has been rude to Caleb pretty consistently and interacting with him now. And I am absolutely willing to accept that she's just having like a humdinger of a couple of days.
Yeah, she is having a crap day, but man.
Boy, she doesn't contain her frustration well.
Yeah.
She's a very chaotic person.
It is, to me, it's more of a surprise that Caleb falls for her after any of this.
Yes, I completely agree. So when Rachel finally makes it across with this incredible balcony plan, they have one of those, like, are we going to kiss moments, right? Like, she, like, finally stumbles into his arms.
Falls into his arms.
Right, and they're pressed right up against each other. And, you know, he's got a hand on her boob accidentally, and she's in her panties, you know, all this stuff. That's Rachel's first night in Jacksonville.
You're right. What a humdinger of a day, Megan.
You sound like a Mormon.
What a humdinger of a day, sweetie.
Am I Mr. Rogers? What am I doing? Rachel shows up for work the next day and she starts meeting the team and meeting the other support staff. All fine. We get introduced to a very large roster of side characters.
So many guys.
I am not going to mention most of them. I will say they are fun. They all have cool little roles throughout the story. A lot of them are going to become main characters in future novels.
Yeah.
So there are some really great side characters in there, but I'm going to mention a few that are very relevant for this story. We meet Ilmari, aka Mars Kanunen, also known as the Bear because he's a giant hairy man.
Yes.
AKA my type. He is 2-time Stanley Cup winner and star of the Finnish Hockey League and Olympic hopeful for the Finnish team. He's a goalie, which I feel like means something in hockey.
This was one of those things where I was like, oh,
there's clearly hockey context.
Is this a thing?
Yeah. Really what that means is he's sort of separate from the team. It's almost like the training for him as the goalie is pretty different. He's doing his own special program with Avery, who's the head of physical therapy. But eventually he will develop into the fourth side of our poly cube.
The poly cube. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of Avery, he, as I mentioned, is the head of PT, and he is our villain of the story, sort of.
I called him the vanillin for this one.
That's very funny.
Yeah. For a contemporary romance, it was just like, we got to put a bad guy in there somewhere. And he's just kind of a mean, kind of a mean doctor.
He's just a mean doctor guy, a mean head of physical therapy. He's not evil enough to get a mustache.
Yeah.
There's no twirling happening.
Rachel spent so much of her time sabotaging herself. I feel like maybe the plot didn't need to throw anything more at it.
Genuinely, I feel like the only reason the Avery character is there at all is to make us feel more sympathetic to Rachel.
Yeah.
Because he is mean to her for seemingly no reason.
That's true.
And that makes her, I guess, a little bit more sympathetic.
Yeah.
But a pretty unnecessary and unremarkable villain, to be honest. But again, the plot of this book is very light. So, what are you going to do? When Jake and Rachel finally spot each other, Rachel clocks Jake immediately. And it takes Jake an extra minute to realize that it's her.
Yeah, because the first time when they met, she was wearing her contacts. She was all done up.
Because she was at a wedding.
Yeah, she was at a wedding. She was all done up. She had her contacts in. And so, and also he's like at work. He's running late. He's coming in and he's
so,
like...
So are you trying to say she's wearing glasses?
So she's
it's Clark
the Superman defense, yes.
Got it. She's in her Clark Kent persona, and so he can't tell that it was Super Rachel.
Yeah, and so he's being just introduced to another person at work. They're like, oh, here's the new girl.
Right. Totally out of context as well.
Rachel knows who he is right away. He doesn't clock her for like, I would say a minute or two until they start talking.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, it's Seattle girl.
Yeah.
When they finally break away from the person who's giving her the tour and they have a moment alone, Rachel's basically like, you didn't even know who I was.
Again, she's so mean.
Right
so
out the gate,
early in the book.
Yeah. She's like, it must not have meant very much to you if you couldn't even recognize who I was. And he's like, you were just out of context. You look completely different, which I thought was perfectly valid. There's been times in my life where I met someone else and it was like, you're kind of familiar, but you're just out of context.
I barely remember what my husband looks like, okay? Like, calm down.
Also,
chill out.
Imagine, he's like a world-famous hockey player. He meets people
all the time.
It
is very reasonable that he is more recognizable than she was.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so Rachel, chill out.
Just chill
out, girl. But as soon as Jake figures out who she is, he's like, oh my God, we could pick up right where we left off.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to see you.
I'm so happy to see you. And she's like, no, I'm here for work. I'm here on the Barkley Fellowship. This is the future of my life right here. I have to do a year's worth of sports medicine so that I can become a real doctor. You cannot mess this up for me, Jake. In 10 months when the season is over, we can be together, but until then, it is professional.
That's going to last 5 minutes.
It lasted a week. it turns out that as much as Rachel likes to talk about how she wants to be a doctor and how she's done so much effort to become not a fuck up, she's just weak for the D.
She's weak for the D.
She's weak for the D.
What are you going to do?
It takes a week for her to start sending him topless photos. Let's talk more about Jake.
Yeah.
Okay. Jake has got the sweetest golden retriever energy, and he's going to do everything that he can for them to be together. And so he tells her, okay, we're going to be friends for the next 10 months, but as soon as that's over, like, I'm in.
We're locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he gets her number from Caleb.
That's right.
And he kind of starts a campaign to endear himself to her.
Yes.
And even though his texts are flirty, they're also just sweet. He's like, hey, look, there's a pelican on my balcony.
Here's what I ate for dinner. Here's my sushi.
He's very charming.
He is very charming.
And so I honestly can't blame Rachel for being won over.
It's true.
Because Jake is the sweetest.
I would have been won over too. Yeah. And he also does, on the first day that they meet, ask right away about the paperwork to date someone at work.
Totally.
Yeah. He's like, we're doing this legit.
We can do this on the up and up if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she's like, slow your roll, buddy.
Yeah.
So that is the foundation for Jake. Let's talk a little bit more about the sort of emotional groundwork for Caleb. If Jake has golden retriever energy, Caleb has black cat energy.
Absolutely.
And Jake and Caleb, again, are best friends, and the team knows this, and they even call them DLPs, domestic life partners, because the two of them are so close, which I adored. There is one quote I absolutely had to write down, which is at one point Rachel says, Caleb is a Rubik's Cube and Jake is a Bop It.
It's so true.
I loved that.
Oh my God.
So obsessed. Caleb is kind of sarcastic. He's got like a really cutting sense of humor, but he's also prickly and he pushes people away. And in fact, at work, Rachel is trying to joke around with him, and Caleb's kind of ragging on one of the players, like talking about what they're doing. And Rachel says, if you think, what he's doing is so easy, why don't you go put some skates on and show him how it's done? And that like really lands badly with Caleb, and she does not understand why. And eventually she gets the context for it filled in, which is that Caleb used to play hockey. That's why he and Jake are friends. They came up together and they got drafted to their first NHL team together. So they went pro together. Mm-hmm. But in Caleb's first professional game, he took a really bad hit from an opposing team player and broke his knee. And it was a horrible career-ending injury.
Yeah.
And that happened when he had only played 7 minutes
of professional hockey. Oh, that was so heartbreaking. Yeah.
Absolutely heartbreaking. He still has pins in his knee. He has a limp in this book. And the confrontation between Rachel and Caleb about this is really emotionally intense, because Caleb is like, don't pity me. Right? I don't want you to look at me with that sad sack look in your eyes. Like, I'm doing just fine. Leave me the F alone. Like, this is why I don't tell people about me and my life. And Rachel kind of has quite a few monologues in this book.
Yeah.
But she monologues at him. And I thought it was a great one. She basically says that she absolutely does not pity him, that she, especially as a doctor, understands the physical pain of an injury like that and how much work it has taken him
to get back,
literally just to be able to walk.
Yeah.
And that for her, that is a sign of resiliency and a sign of strength. And so there's no part of her that would pity something like that she really admires it instead.
Yeah.
And that, causes some sexual tension between them to happen, which is really kind of throwing Rachel for a loop here, because again, she's sexting Caleb's best friend in the middle of this whole situation. So now she's got some tension with Caleb. She has this foundational history with Jake, and all of that is going to culminate in our first three-way.
In the background of this book, hockey is happening.
Yes, okay? That is important to keep in mind.
Yeah, we're not following every single game. Hockey is happening in the background. They are traveling, they are playing, but we have like almost 700 pages to cover, so we're just going to stick with the important stuff.
The three ways.
Yeah, exactly. It's what you're here for.
And the 4 ways.
The smut. So the entire team goes to a nightclub to celebrate a win, and Rachel wears the bodysuit that she was wearing the first time that she meets Jake just to tease him.
Yes. Or even if it's not, he thinks it's just to tease him.
Oh yeah,
it definitely is.
It was. She did that. She packed that on purpose.
She did that on purpose. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Caleb's ex-girlfriend Aspen rolls up into the VIP section. And Aspen is what they used to call a puck bunny, one of those girls that just follows around hockey players. And she dumped him like 10 minutes after he was injured, before they even figured out that he wasn't going to be an NHL player anymore.
Still in the hospital.
Yeah,
with the injury.
So they've got some fucking beef.
Yeah, they have history.
So when they run into each other, Caleb starts to spiral, and Rachel spies this going on, and she's like, "I've got this. I'm getting in there."
Yes, and I really wanted to like Rachel for jumping to Caleb's defense.
Yeah.
So she, jumps in there. She ends up getting on his lap and pretending to be his girlfriend.
Right.
Basically. And she starts, verbally sparring with Aspen, but it got mean.
It got mean real quick.
This was girl on girl crime of the highest order. And Rachel, is in like Cobra mode is what they call it. And she is striking like a freaking asp. She is seeing Aspen's insecurities. She is hammering at them, and she verbally demolishes this woman. I'm not going to say this poor woman, because again, Aspen was giving just as much as she was getting.
Yeah, she was not a pitiable character in this situation.
Not in any way, shape, or form. But the important thing is that Rachel does all of this while grinding on Caleb's obvious erection.
Good for her.
So after the absolute verbal smackdown, her and Caleb and Jacob are all kind of high on the victory of their, the verbal sparring match. So they all run off together, and they end up in a janitor's closet together.
Yeah, at a work event. Just want to point out.
It was a public club, but it was absolutely a work event. And they end up doing, the Sabrina Carpenter Eiffel Tower. Wonder Twin powers activate. So sorry,
that high five was what the guys were doing.
The guys were high fiving. Yeah. That us eyeing was Emmy and I doing a crisp high five over, an imaginary woman we are sharing
the imaginary
between us.
Rachel between us.
Correct. So a few notes about this scene, which I really did enjoy. Caleb is queer.
Yeah.
And he has been harboring a secret crush on Jake their whole friendship, basically. Caleb also has multiple penis piercings, specifically 4, which is less than Ragnar the Troll.
Yeah. Sorry. He doesn't, not Ragnar status, but it's up there.
Ragnar being the main character from A Darkness So Sweet, which is an episode we did very recently with Mrs. Longreads.
Yeah, check that out if you're into piercings.
Yes, Ragnar has 8, 1 for every inch. I think Caleb does not have an inch ruler on his penis. They're scattered around artistically instead. And Jake at one point says Caleb likes to watch.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And boss Jake around.
Oh, yeah. So the implication there is that the two of them have probably shared a female partner before. And I just have so much love for Caleb in that moment, because it very much felt like he's been pining for Jake and loving him for so long. And he's bisexual. He's not gay. But that sharing a partner with Jake was kind of the closest.
That's as close as it gets.
Right.
Yeah.
The closest he could be to Jake. And I found that weirdly sweet and endearing. Like, I really, really liked Caleb. And so I loved the spicy scene between the 3 of them.
See, I gravitated to the funny part of this scene, which was when Jake saw Caleb's piercings for the first time, because he didn't get them obviously while he was doing hockey. He waited until afterwards. And he's like, how am I supposed to compare to your robot dick?
He does. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's clear that Jake hasn't seen those before, so that all of their dallying was before his injury.
Yeah.
Since Caleb's injury, Caleb really hasn't dated anyone. He kind of shut down and closed himself off from that opportunity because he was so hurt and changed and traumatized by the injury.
Fair play, honestly.
Valid. Yeah. Fully valid. So afterwards, remember, Jake is a sweetie pie, and he's a very sensitive, emotional boy, and he gets really insecure, both kind of during the scene and then also afterwards. And they have a little moment in the parking lot where he tells Rachel, I can't keep doing this. Like, we've had sex now. I'm absolutely all in with you, and I need us to be all in together, or I need us to completely stop texting and flirting and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I am very emotional about this. I'm feeling these feelings for you, and I just need clarification.
Yeah.
I need clarity. I need to know what this is. I don't want to live in the limbo anymore.
Yeah, Jake was locked in right away.
Yes,
Yeah.
he absolutely was. He gets a really sweet little excerpt from his monologue where he says, "Move in and be with me. Be with us. Whatever that looks like to you, we will figure it out. Just give me more than this nothing. I can't bear it another second." He's
Jake,
like writing
he's
sad
sweet
poetry
boy. I
in his
know.
journal about Rachel.
Yeah, he's
Hearts.
such a sweet little boy.
Heart eyes. Heart eyes for
Yeah,
Jake.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Rachel does agree to this.
Yes.
This is the point where she's won over by them, but she asks if they can keep things private because her family's history with the press.
Yeah.
Like she has some real trauma when it comes to the press. Yeah, but their schedules are completely insane. Because, in fact, one of the reasons they say, "Can you move in with us?" is they're like, we're hockey players.
Yeah,
and
you're
we're
the team
traveling all the
doctor.
time, right? You're never gonna see us if it's just after work. So Jake convinces Caleb and Rachel to move into his giant beach house so that they could spend more time together in privacy and not have to worry about the press.
Exactly.
But now it's time to turn our triangle
Into a square. Woo! Enter the Viking.
Mars Kanoonin. Yes, the development of Mars is much slower in comparison to the domestic life partners. If Caleb is prickly and hard to get close to, Mars is a brick wall.
Accurate.
Yeah. And maybe it's like a Finnish culture thing.
I was curious about that too. Like, Emily Rath, do you know about Finnish culture?
Yeah, there was so much Finnish in here. I was like, is this just based on a person?
Did you have to research this?
Yeah.
Finnish fans of our podcast, please get in the comments and tell us if Mars's personality is like a Finnish stereotype. P.S. The weirdest thing about Mars, when I was like, this dude is not normal.
No.
He ordered milk on a plane.
So weird.
Who does that?
That's
serial killer behavior, and not in a cute, dark romance way.
No. That's what's going on with this person?
I'm worried for Mars, honestly. Like,
yeah, and he barely speaks to anyone, and he does his own separate goalie training program, so he doesn't hang out with really any of the other guys, and he also works with Avery, the other doctor,
instead of Rachel.
Yeah, and the entire team treats him and just views him as somebody who's apart because he's a goalie.
I feel like they've given up, right? You do see little moments of Jake being like, "Hey, man, like, you want to come sit with us?"
And he's like,
and he just
no.
is like brick wall.
I'd prefer to read my book than hang out.
Yeah, he barely even says no.
Yeah.
It's right. It's like walking up to someone and they just stare at you, and you're like, "Okay,
yeah,
I got the hint."
Even Jake, the most friendly out of all of them, could not get Mars to come sit with them.
Right. It's like Mars kicking a puppy.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Correct.
Oh but you know what? Rachel breaks through how she's broken through with all of these other guys.
By
She's rude.
Rude as hell.
So everybody's traveling on a plane because they fly to a lot of their games. And she's sitting in a seat, and Mars walks up and he's like, "This is my seat. This is my special seat."
That's more words than he uses, Emmy.
Oh,
He
that's
literally
true.
just walks up and goes, "Move."
Move. And she's like, "Why?
No
Why
context.
Should I?" No, exactly.
And so she just refuses to move. She's like, "I don't know why you're being rude to me. I don't know why you are dodging the physical fitness exams that I've been trying to schedule you for.
right.
I don't know why you are the way you are, buddy. But here, how about we make a deal? You get in my exam room. I'm going to be a doctor and do my job. And if you don't want to do that, then get used to me hogging all your air on this plane, buddy. Suck it up, buttercup." You know, and honestly, good for her. Aim your rudeness at the correct target, which in this moment is definitely Mars.
Yeah.
Yes.
But while they're at this game, they end up winning with a shutout.
Yes.
And now they're all like, "Oh, it happened because Rachel was sitting in his seat."
Right. And so when they're on the way home, now she tries to sit somewhere else and he's like, "You have to sit with me."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you effing kidding me?"
One of these sports superstitions things.
Yeah, which is so true.
It
like
is.
sport, you hear about stuff like, "Oh, I can't change my socks. Those are my lucky game socks," or "I don't shave during the season," or all these superstitions, very realistic.
And it very quickly
sports.
becomes Rachel has to sit in this spot on the plane next to Mars or else.
Correct. So now, as they're doing all this, traveling and they're always sitting together. Mm-hmm. Keep that in mind. All right. So the arc of the Mars-Rachel relationship really centers around Rachel realizing that Mars is hiding a hip injury.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been playing through the pain of that because he really wants to make the Finnish Olympic team. And he doesn't want to let on that he's injured because it's going to mean he gets benched. Once they know that he's been benched, it's going to make them question if he's fit enough to be selected for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's worried that all of those dreams are going to fall apart. And this isn't just his dream. His father was on the team. His grandfather was on the team. So he's carrying the weight of this legacy.
Yeah.
So he's, it's a very serious topic for him. And Mars is terrified that Rachel is going to out him, basically, cause him to be benched, and that it's going to ruin everything. And so they kind of have a shouting match over it in private, not on a plane.
Yeah.
When she finally manages to blackmail him with milk or whatever to get into her exam room.
In the room.
Yeah. And so Rachel's big monologue, again, for him about this is that she is trying to protect his health. She's trying to help him play in the long term, not just for one season. And she is not going to sacrifice his health for anything.
Yeah.
And she's not going to intentionally ruin his dream, but she begs him and needs him to let her take care of him.
Yeah.
And that is very interesting and appealing to Mars. And so she's really cracking through his facade at this moment. And she takes it even further. She says that she is willing to pretend that she does not know about this injury as long as he will follow her treatment plan for him. That is definitely an ethical violation. And so now not only is she fucking two of her coworkers, she's now lying about the medical situation of a third one. Rachel is screwed.
Rachel Price, most professional person ever.
Rachel Price, medicine woman. Yeah. So she does this fully knowing that she is risking her job by keeping this secret.
By trying to save his career.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mars is stunned by this. This 100% wins him over because he understands that the stakes for her are now just as high, if not higher, frankly, than the stakes for him.
Yeah.
And he's very impressed that she's willing to prioritize him over the needs of the team, which is not typically what, these doctors would do. Probably not what Avery, the PT, is doing.
Right.
And now they share this secret.
Yes.
Which is an excuse for them to sneak around, be alone. It's also an excuse for Rachel to get him to take his pants off. So she can examine his hip
I need to
injury.
examine your hips. Yeah. So the boys at home, they can start telling that there is something brewing between Mars and Rachel, and it does cause some consternation. But they have a really good poly-communication talk about it and like how love isn't infinite. But I do have to say from poly experience, a week after moving in with your triad and suddenly dating another guy,
it's messy.
It's messy, Rachel. That's very messy.
It's very messy.
I'd be like, when's guy number 5 moving in?
That would definitely be my next question. Is like, are they Pokemon?
Is she doing all the whole team?
Right.
Yeah. I might have
Do you
some questions.
have like a punch card that I don't know about? What's going on?
Yeah.
But when you told me that, I was like, I agree with you, but also, Emmy, it is a fantasy.
You did. You're like, calm down, Emmy. It's a romance novel. It is. I know.
But I appreciate you standing on your poly business. I respect that about you.
Thank you. Yeah. Don't accept this kind of behavior in real life. But in a fantasy novel, who gives a shit? Enjoy. Rachel starts exploring this thing with Mars, and this gives Caleb and Jake time to explore their own romantic relationship. And I love that this book gives queer men who want to be together, like a moment together when the FMC isn't there.
Yes. They get their own development and their own scenes together when Rachel's off with Mars.
Yeah, their romance in this book is really great, actually.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite.
Yeah, me too. Rachel and Mars consummate their branch of the polycule on a secret trip to Rachel's old sports medicine clinic to get clandestine scans of his hip injury. When it's all said and done, the boys welcome Mars into the fold after Mars puts more effort into being friends with them.
Yeah, and not just them, but, more
the
effort
whole team
into the entire dynamic with the team.
They don't want him to just be separate on his whole goalie thing anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Mars is straight, by the way. Okay, so if we had to draw a diagram of this, basically the only thing you need to know is that
a conspiracy board with red string.
Is just that Mars's dick is not touching anyone but Rachel.
Yeah. So Rachel is dating Mars, Caleb, and Jake. Jake and Caleb are also dating. Mars is only dating Rachel.
Yeah.
This honestly sounds exactly like every poly relationship.
Actually, it's true. This is the most realistic.
This is extremely accurate when, there
we call them poly constellations.
Poly constellations.
Yep.
Was it Parks and Recreation where Aubrey Plaza is like, this is my boyfriend, that's my other boyfriend, they're also boyfriends?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
That's what
it's exactly
this
that.
sounded like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if this confuses you, just relax and enjoy.
Close your eyes and think of hockey.
Correct. Just think of big sticks.
Big sticks.
All right. So let's talk about how this book wraps up.
Yeah.
We get a couple of big moments of tension towards the end of the novel, which includes, like we said, the big games.
2 of them.
One of them is against a Canadian team, and that team is fielding the same player that put Caleb out of commission. So this is a big emotional moment for both Jake and Caleb to kind of come to terms with that injury and, Jake being in the pressure cooker of knowing that he's playing against the same player that took his best friend out of commission.
Yeah.
And it's a really big, intense moment for them, that they come through together.
It's really good.
It's really well written.
Good. Yeah.
And then the other game is the one where the Olympic scouts are finally there and they're watching Mars play.
Yeah.
And they're ready to see if he is going to join the Finnish Olympic team.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 big game opportunities. There's also the inevitable outing of their poly relationship.
Yeah. That can't stay hidden forever.
Correct. Both kind of to the team and then ultimately to the public. And then the ensuing fallout of that has to happen for Rachel professionally.
Yeah.
Because behind the scenes, she did do the paperwork for dating Jake.
Yeah.
But she absolutely did not do the paperwork for Caleb or for Mars. Mm-hmm. And there is no amount of paperwork in the world that makes it okay for a doctor to take one of her players to a secret clinic in Ohio to get scans done so that they're not on his official record.
Yeah. There is a little bit, the only thing I want to say about this scene when it does all sort of come out, there are some people that are like, how dare you hold Rachel responsible for all of the things that she's done?
How dare there be consequences for her own actions? Unacceptable.
Yeah.
So if it, you'll have to make it through this absolute puck fest of a book in order to see how they find their happy ending.
Yeah.
But I do want to reassure you that this is, of course, a happy ending book. So they ultimately find their way through as a fearsome foursome.
Yeah.
So final thoughts. Fuck, marry, kill. Who do you want to do?
All right.
Tell me.
All right.
And why?
I'm fucking Caleb because he seems fun.
Okay.
Okay. I am marrying Jake because I want that golden retriever energy in my life. But I think I've got to kill Mars. Not because I don't like him.
Okay.
I don't want to do the other two. He's a perfectly fine character, but not for me. How about you, Megan? What's yours?
I definitely marry Jake.
Yeah.
Jake is marriage material, and he's going to dote on you and take incredibly good care of you.
He's gonna make you barbecue.
Yeah. I really am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm killing Caleb.
Aw,
I'm sorry.
that's
I'm sorry.
okay. That's okay.
I love Caleb a lot, but Mars is kind of my type.
You want to climb the bear?
I want to climb the bear. I want to be at the top of the mountain. I want him to absolutely crush me.
Do you want him to whisper Finnish in your ear as he finishes?
I really do. And I think I just have a thing for like breaking the shell of an unapproachable man.
Yes, the introverts.
I don't know. It's a sickness that I have that he hates everyone, but I want him to like me.
Yep.
I hate that about myself.
This is the forever curse of extroverted girlies.
He also, in the book, canonically has the largest penis.
That is true.
So, you know, what are you going to do?
Get it.
I would like to. Also, not to be weird, but I don't know if penis piercings are my thing.
Oh, see, I want to find out.
And that's valid. I want to validate you for that.
I've climbed a bear, haven't done piercings. So let's see.
You're so valid.
Let's see.
So stuff that I really loved about this book, it has a lot of characters,
yes,
main characters and side characters, but every single one of them felt fully developed, totally unique and well characterized.
Yes.
These are the best written characters, you know, that I've had in a book in a while. Really, really wonderful. And, you know, she had the page count to do it.
I'm going to say, she had the page count for it, and I'm really glad she made the use of it to make her characters really good.
Yeah.
But I have some thoughts about Rachel.
I understand.
Okay.
We've been having thoughts about her the whole time.
I can't actually think of another book where the FMC was the red flag.
She is a big red flag.
Yeah, she's really...
I wouldn't date her.
I'm not sure. This is a big thing. I think the thing that we have about Rachel is that we all know a Rachel in our life. Okay?
I agree.
There is someone who we know who has the whole world at their feet, right? They are super smart. They have every opportunity, and they just keep fucking it up for themselves.
She cannot get out of her own way.
Yeah. And to me, like, this made me upset with Rachel, but I want to say that I don't think that this is bad writing. In fact, I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's good writing.
I agree. She's incredibly believable.
Yes, this
and
is
realistic.
This is the person that we know, right?
She's internally consistent in what she's doing and the way she's acting. Mm-hmm. She absolutely seems like a rock star's daughter.
Yes. And I don't need every character in a book to be likable and lovable. In fact, like the fact that there's a FMC that I'm like, ugh, but I can still manage to read the book and enjoy it. I liked that. And to be honest with you, I feel like it's a little bit like Breaking Bad. I did not like Walter White, but I liked Breaking Bad.
I think that's totally fair.
But I could not be friends with Rachel Price.
Definitely not.
She'd be ruining my life.
Yes.
I think I would spend most of our friendship grabbing her shoulders and shaking her and being, why are you making these choices?
Why are you like this?
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I really, really liked this book. A couple of other thoughts. It's too long.
It's too long. We like that she got the opportunity to do all the character stuff, but you could have just had less characters.
So here's where I'm struggling. I've heard that before. I've looked at other reviews that suggested maybe cutting one of the 3 main male characters. The only one you could cut is Mars.
Yeah.
And I struggle because Mars was a story I really enjoyed.
Yes, I agree with you.
But I do think you could have made Mars the main character of a different book.
Of his own book.
And it would have been, this book would have been better probably for it. But I wouldn't want to lose Mars. I loved Mars.
Yeah.
I just want him in maybe a different book with a different FMC.
The idea of a goalie character who's secretly hiding an injury and he falls in love with the doctor who's secretly trying to help him and they get together, that would have been a fantastic novel. I just don't, to me, this was a hat on a hat. I didn't need both of those in the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how it felt.
Yeah.
So that would be some of my constructive criticism. The other constructive comment I will make is the audio. Don't do the audiobook.
We got to talk about the audiobook real quick because we just finished the Quicksilver audiobook, which I told you was the best audiobook I ever heard, and then this is the next one I picked up.
Yep. This definitely feels like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah. It's so weird because there's 2 male narrators, but 1 female narrator. And I don't know why you wouldn't just have. So one guy does Jake and Caleb and another one does Mars.
To be honest, I couldn't even tell
if
that was accurate.
Oh.
I wasn't sure. I thought it could just be one guy trying to do 3 different voices.
Yeah, I was literally like, is it just because you guys only one of you could do a Finnish voice? Also, if that's the case, why not just get a third guy?
Just get a third guy.
Yeah.
That's what made me think it was one guy doing 3 voices.
All of them?
So here's my rub with the audiobook. In Quicksilver, if a female character is talking, the female voice actress is speaking.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right? But not in this book.
Not in Pucking Around.
Whoever owns the POV for that chapter, right? It's Rachel, it's Caleb, it's Mars. That is the voice actor that is speaking for every single part in the chapter.
Yeah.
So that means that you have a female narrator doing multiple male voices during the multiple scenes. And then you have a male narrator trying to put on a falsetto female voice for Rachel.
Yes.
And I don't care how good of a narrator you are. It doesn't work.
I had literally like secondhand embarrassment listening to him narrate the sex scenes where he makes the noises that Rachel is supposed to be making. And to me, it almost sounded like the kind of voices you would do for your guy friends when you're like making fun of a girl.
Yes.
And then she's like, oh, Jake, yes.
What you're doing now is still better.
Oh, God. Oh man,
you can't replicate
this
it.
was what after I heard Quicksilver again, I was like, why are not all audiobooks like this? This should be the gold standard.
Yes.
Oh man.
What they did in Quicksilver is how all audiobook
let the guys do the guys' voices.
Or just have a woman read the whole thing.
Yeah, because she did okay. It was the guys that were not great on
I'm
this
so
one.
sorry, gentlemen.
Yeah. Wrapping thoughts.
Get one more shot in on the goal before the timer goes off.
Sing. All right. So as I've said before, I'm a poly person. I actually am in a why choose like 4 quad situation. So, reading this book was like, oh, this is representation of my life. It took me a long time to read this book because I had to keep stopping, especially near the end, because I found it really difficult to read. And not because it was bad. It was actually because, in fact, it was a happy ending. For a happy ending book, they have to be accepted, right, by everyone
Their
at large.
entire relationship has to be accepted.
Yes, and everyone needs to be
lives.
happy and excited about it, right? And that's just not my lived experience. I have literally lost a job because my boss found out that I was polyamorous and they fired me. And so to me, it was just like, it was just so hard to watch them get the happy ending that I'm just like,
you knew it was a fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy you want.
That I want to live, right?
But
and
it was emotional to read.
It was.
Yeah.
But it gave me hope because you know where I found this book? I found this book at Target.
Hell yeah.
In between fucking ACOTAR and Quicksilver, okay? This book with a 4-person love was for sale with the top hits of romance, okay? And that gave me hope that maybe in a couple years
we can normalize relationships looking however the hell they need to look.
Exactly.
Love is love.
When I say, hey, I'm in a relationship with like 3 people, that people just be like, oh, you're polyamorous. I've read about that in a book, kind of a thing. And we'll just all be cool with it. So to me, pucking around it was good representation. I'll take it, right?
I love that.
And I love that other people loved it. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you on this one, Emily Rath.
Yeah. What was your final star rating?
You know what? I went with 4.5 on this one.
Nice.
I know I had a lot to say about Rachel, but you know what? In the end, I did enjoy this book. The spice was spicing.
The spice was hella spicing in this book.
Every configuration that you could think of that 4 people got into, they got up to in this book.
I think I gave it a 4. I adored this book, but I wouldn't read it again because it was so long. Yeah, just because it was so lengthy. But it absolutely made me want to read more books in her series.
Yeah, the little
and
novellas I'll take. Yeah,
she's a wonderful writer. The characters were beautifully done. And I had a really puckin' good time. And I hope that you guys had a puckin' good time listening to us talk about it.
Thank you. Yeah, and check out Sports Romance. We're not normally the people
Give it
for
a try.
And we enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're not the target audience for a hockey book, but you never know what you might fall in love with.
Yeah, well, now I have really naughty thoughts about our local hockey team. So
we do have a good one. We have the Sharks.
We have the Sharks. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go to a Barracudas game.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to go read Smut and we're going to report back.
Yes, we are.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.